Evening to all those who tune into your entertainment network, especially the folks here in Ole and Layamega and all those who tune in from a different time zone. You could have been doing any other thing on this Tuesday evening, but you choose to listen to your entertainment network and especially the topics. It shows that you enjoy what we are doing and we appreciate the love. And so let me first say, give thanks for all those who keep coming and support Mansour's Last Stop on a daily basis. Even if you pick up one item or even them who just drop by to have a drink and just to reason and stuff like that, we greatly appreciated. Especially today is roti day, also tomorrow, and then Thursday is curry chicken lunch, and then Friday you got the local cook up, and then on Saturday, that's the big menu where you have the shark and bakes along for breakfast and breadfruit, along with your saltfish and fried fish along with the lunch. You don't know that comes with caramel and okra and your fish or your oxtail if your choice, if you with it, or your chicken, or with your rice and your coleslaw and your salads and all of that nice stuff, and just great company to be in. And remember, the farm is there. If you don't want to be at the front, you can come at the back and chill at the back at the same time. So it's just all positive vibes, no negativity. The rule is once you're going to come and chill, you just patronize, buy a drink and whatever, but it is not a place to just come and lime. If you ain't spending the money, you can't come and lime. That's the rule, and that's how it's going to always be enforced. All right? And also the parking is for Mansell's customers only. Any unauthorized vehicle, if not patronizing, will be get towed at owner's own expense. So appreciate and respect the space when you come by and see the space is there. So let me say this also. Last week, Wednesday evening, I was invited to a workshop in St. Kitts, a cannabis traditional workshop, which was for 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 9 hours workshop all day. So it's something I had to make the sacrifice and go down. So I just want to give thanks. I mean, I was encouraged by Mr. Randy Elliott. He is now on the Cannabis Authority Board Director, and also was invited by the CEO of the Cannabis Authority, Mr. Nadif Mills. So I accept the invitation. Didn't know what to expect. The workshop was done by Michael Emmanuel out of Jamaica and the UE campus. So well composed of from seed to harvesting and manufacturing and all what is involved in a medical industry, cannabis industry. This is one of those training where it was well attended. Over 30 people show up. I was very surprised from different age group and stuff like that. And one of the things is that they appreciate the training because it made them look at the plant different in a scientific way, which they never thought of. And a lot of stuff they have in that everyone have is a lot of myth and how they feel and what they think and different stuff. With some of the stuff what they do was logical at the same time, but hearing it scientifically, what the molasses water and all this different stuff when it comes to the enzymes and all these things, they appreciate those stuff and the feedback and the interaction that you meet different farmers at the same time. It's not a space where you're there to compete with each other. The only thing the workshop didn't have is just the hands-on part. But apart from that, it was a beautiful, well put together workshop which touched base on everything pest and management. And one of these things, if you're part of this program, all the clones of on plants or seed will be provided to you and along with a greenhouse and stuff like that. But you have to grow the cannabis in a controlled environment, which the government will now take the harvest material from you and have the facility where they store it and process it and run all the microbial tests and pesticides and carbonate tests and all this different stuff that is put on the plant and make sure it's free for consumption and for shipping once it passed then. But all within all this time, prices will be worked out per wet weight and all these different things. So, but the only thing with this is that if you want to encourage others to be a part of this, which is a lot of people into growing cannabis, but growing it for an industry is totally different. But if you want others to be a part of it, they got to come out and relax the locking up of people when it comes to cannabis and all this different stuff. Otherwise, if the people don't trust in the system, it means that this thing is not going to work, and that just is logical. So hopefully, I mean, they get encouraged by the turnout and the feedback, and others who want to get involved, not because I don't want to get involved, I have no interest in that. That doesn't mean those who want to have an interest should not have the right to be a part of it. So by relaxing the laws and encourage, that can be dealing with it. So also big up. So on my way down there, let me say big up to Nobian and Jamie. I was also invited to be a part of the Hot Topics today. So that was very engaging. And thanks for all the callers who call and all who tune in and stuff like that. I want to big up Joni and Right Hand and Avery, his children, their fourth. I mean, Joni is an inspiration. He's one of those person I remember as a youth when between him, ZZ, and he started working at Van Radio. That was a big talk in Nevis. So that was something that stuck with me. So let me say big up to the taxi guys, them over there by Reggae Beach Bar, who I met today, who recognized me and reason about different things and stuff like that. So that was much appreciated and so forth. So, well, I got to encourage and say all those me and let me know they listen to the show. I'm doing such a good time, such a great job. I appreciate that. Big up Laxine right there over at Reggae Beach. When you come off the boat right there, she's the first beach bar. Nice, beautiful lady when you go over the support. Laxine, all right. Well, definitely looking forward for the reason this evening and this topic. But before we get into discussion, if you're a first time listener, remember this topic is about some pow pow that came in, that shipped from Canada. There was no arrest and 1,500 rounds of ammunition, and there was a press conference and stuff like that. So before we get to discussion, we'll play about a couple of minutes, 2 minutes of the press conference by the High Commission. So the High Commission can know you guys listening. And as we get into the discussion, anything I say, you guys are free to call in and correct me. I stand to be corrected at any time because I've heard all kind of stuff about this situation and I just listened. But I know what I'm going to say today. Nobody ever repeat it. So I know that. So yeah, I stand, even the owner who was alleged, who shipped, they're free to call in too and correct me with whatever I'm about to say too. So get luck and tune in and be a part of the conversation because I hear all kind of story. So technician, let me get into the press conference of the High Command about this pow pow.
With regards to the guns in Nevis, from the police standpoint, there was no criminal intent, and we revert the matter to the Customs Department. Okay, the firearms were shipped to the Federation without authorization. And based on the circumstance, as I've said, there was no criminal intent, and the matter has been referred to the Customs Department in that regard.
What criteria were used to determine that there were no criminal intent? And has the gun permit been approved for the expats who ship the weapons?
Okay, let me be open. Why we say that there is no criminal intent? The visitors, they did send an application ahead of the weapons being shipment. So we got an application via email requesting an import permit. There was an import permit that was submitted, a list of the firearms and their serial numbers, copies of their licenses to keep those firearms in Canada, and as well as their passport data by a page. So that was sent to us via email, but it was not processed in time. Somehow we missed it among the list of emails that we got. It was leading up to music festival, so we would have had quite an influx of emails. And so we were not able to process that application before the weapons arrived. When the container arrived, it was declared to customs as well. So customs knew that they were in the container before they opened the container. However, customs did not relate that to us. So by the time we were called, we thought that it was something that was done outside of the limits of the law. And so we responded and we took custody of the weapons. So we have all the weapons in custody. As I said, because there was an attempt to inform us, to notify us, we were notified. So we could not prove that they had intended to smuggle them in. Because smuggle, they must have an intent to evade the authorities. And we cannot establish that they want to evade the authorities when they would have sent a list of what they are bringing in to the authorities. They would have declared it to customs before customs opened the container. So you cannot conclude that they were intending to evade customs either.
All right.
However, because they
All right. Yahsonn, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, from my vantage point, like if you make an application, it's like let me use something that I guess the people could relate to. It's something I love to do when I was teaching. I love to make an example that people can relate to, so that we can better understand it. I apply for a permit for a dance to keep this dance over conch shell. Well, conch shell ain't in effect now,
Go
but
ahead. We understand what you're saying.
yeah,
We get to go
right.
ahead.
And I apply for the permit to keep the dance, and I go all out and pay the DJ, pay me artists to come in, buy me drinks and everything, and me ain't get back the response from the authorities that I could have the dance. Well, can I go and just keep the dance? And if I go and keep the dance without the permission, well, am I not subject to whatever repercussions for me for me seeking to have my function without the relevant authority? So that is my position where that is concerned. So I see that the end result is, even with all that explanation that the police would have just given to claim that they would have applied for and all of this thing, the end result is they did not get um, clearance. So who is to judge that the police maybe in the end could not have said that they're not going to give them any clearance, even though they have all that information? So
Okay.
that is my position.
Okay. I gonna what the high command said, that the person send email with their biometrics along with permit that they have within Canada and stuff like that. And as I said, continue. If the high command, as I speaking about when I go into this, and they have any question or anything, they're free to call in and talk and say, I'm incorrect, and stuff like that, okay? And also the lady from Canada, the immigrant, if she want to her lawyer, whatever it is, they can just, I stand to be corrected, whatever I'm gonna say. All right. And then if you realize the high command, they're very uncomfortable by watching the body language, and they've been put in a situation where, as you realize, they said, well, the person, and repeated twice, that the person, before the canteen was open, declared it to customs. Because rule number, in Canada, there's two different agencies that deal with these things, where you got to get the information and whatever, and then they'll approve the shipping of these things, okay? Both of these agencies seem to be staying too long, so this stuff was put and shipped without the agency them knowing, okay? That's that's number one.
Wait, hold
Number
on.
two,
Wait.
yes,
I just want clarity. I just want a little clarity here.
yes,
You're saying that the things were shipped from Canada without the relevant agencies in Canada.
yes.
Okay, so that's one. Okay, let's go ahead now.
Good. Number two, when you you say make we freeze. All right. If you're gonna be shipping stuff like pow and beds and whatever and different stuff like that, and furniture and all this different stuff for household, what would I would just say, well, pow was not put on the manifest. I would just put on the manifest was personal items. You understand? All right. So that na have an pow. Okay? Number three, the information that they send to, as the high command speak about email and whatever and stuff like that. Okay? Somehow the intention was, by sending this thing to whatever, and they don't evade Canada, and now they get through. It just auto lock. They're just lucky. That's how it is. Somebody or whatever it is. Anyway, the figure, well, custom will not be in the line. Okay? Because if anyone within this environment, especially as a correctional officer working in these facilities, you're basically almost like an officer of the law, So you research the laws and importation of stuff, and then in the next admission is just common sense. But saying that you do not know that come to customer, go straight to the police. When they come at the port, police will come, intersect, take it, and then whenever then you get it back because I didn't. You see what I mean? So some no, it was on the manifest. The containers was at the people in house property. The officer go to do the work. Is then at that time they present and say, well, we have these things in there and wherever. So that personal authority in charge of them, and all the people them come, and then and custom now. And you got to give custom kudos, and there was overlooked. You got to big up the custom for the great work and not trusting the agent for these people, for people who ship containers and let them to go out and do the work. These things happen, and these things, and you end up with all these things on the island where they just don't know about it. So it's for them to go out and be very. So custom notify, since they was notified by the person at the scene that this thing was presented because the person never touched the container from the person said the person said that. Okay. The higher authority was called over him. They pack up, everybody heading over. They notify the police to bring the canine. So custom reach on the site first, open up the containers, speak to the homeowner, let them know, show them where these things are. Boom, they secured 2 safe. Okay? 2 safe. Upon arrival, police then met custom day. High commandant tell these things. So some of them in the attitude. What you all doing in the container? Boom, boom, boom. This is a secured place for custom. Custom have more authority than you guys. Custom is the one who's doing the work. You can't get involved. You got to be calm down the person and all this different stuff. As I say, the high command you could cut in and come and buy a table and party, so me allow this story, everything is set. Because you are painting pretty picture. So we paint how the situation was, because a lot of police or police officers, because even if I ship a container full of gun, and whatever the situation you come to this scene, what's called to the scene, you shouldn't come with an attitude. Because all you're going to come to arrest me, you're going to come to beat me up, kick me down. Me not understand that. So what is the attitude for? You see, these are the kind of things. And then now, when the higher hierarchy come over, that police officer had to come and say, by no, the man them is doing their work, you can't get involved until or whatever. All right, now, this is the point now. They sweep the container, because they not trust nobody now. Make sure no other ones are, sorry about that one, pull out the one there. And the pow is on the in the container, everything is secured. Now, custom gone back to custom with these things, with the safe and them, and the police them follow. Doing the continue investigation, make sure the serial number them matches and everything like that, and boom, boom, boom. And then they find the person. The fine cannot be no more than $50,000, because at the scene of before the touch, they declare, which in it is the wrong thing to do, because it's a procedure. So they give you a fine. So because of this, they're not going to release the person's name and stuff like that. So everything done do after hours and hours done pass and whoever got doing all the paperwork and everything, they hand over the guns now to do the investigation. Okay? So it's not that the police them tuck up no gun from no site and go along with it like how they matter, give impression. No. Custom did their due diligence, do what they have to do, and then turn over the people them to the police them. So the police them probably go back home the people and hold on the gun on them. So the high command them in speaking how they're supposed to speak. So right in the beginning from out of Canada, intent was done. Because you still not get declaration of in non-agencies in Canada. And here still not get a declaration. So you see these people do the one virgin, and then the high commander accept this kind of, and they know better. They know. But it's too much infighting going on in the high commander. That's the problem. And then the local people are suffer. Custom must be for the great work, and by not trusting no agent and no homeowner to clear container by itself. Got to big them up. Big up all those who was involved to set in this situation here and doing the job, because you never hear custom being accommodated for these things. All you hear is the high commander cover up themselves. Why they covering up this person? Because, as I say, if this was done to me, if I had done with it, custom would have treated me the same way, because, you don't miss it, you have the paperwork, but not reaching it. But the reality is we have to give you a fine. But the problem is the police. Custom did the work. But the person they did not have on and the manifest that gun in the container. They declare it at the point when they're about to open the container. So they know what they're doing. So we're not about up things here in a virgin. You see what I say? This we call the topics and we call things what it is. That's just how it is. So this is how the story is. And all the stories I've heard, none of them is like this. So you speak when you all hear things. Be careful before you all repeat it. That's why when I come here, I always come and I speak, and nobody can correct me. So anything that I've just said, any one of them who are sitting in those green and looking up in the air and fighting to talk and lying, because that's what I do. You understand? The thinking, can look all your body language so they're uncomfortable. Everything I said this evening, you all can denounce what I'm saying. Because I'm not making this up. You see what I mean? And it is sad that these things are gonna happen. And the homeowner can say it and bring the paperwork if the authority. Nothing is on the manifest that guns is inside the container, and the paperwork is not on the manifest. It's just a personal items. That's it. Okay, if you're gonna ship stuff, you put it on, and then when it comes, then declare. They take a big chance and they get you with it. Scot-free. Yahsonn, that's the way it is. Did you hear anything like what me just say? Me can't make up this. And
No,
then I'm making it up either. Good.
This is the first time I'm hearing that angle of the story.
Of course. And that's what it is.
Well, according to Bankie, I got to go according to Bankie right now. The thing is, if what you're saying is, I mean, but you say it is what it is. But if what you're saying is what it is, right?
Guarantee.
And
They didn't challenge me on that. They can't challenge me on that.
Wait,
Nobody can
here's what I'm
challenge me on
saying.
that.
If that is the case,
Not a soul
that
can
even
challenge me on that.
so, if they would have left Canada and they did not go through the proper procedure in Canada in terms of exporting those kinds of things, and then get here, and as you're mentioning as well, that they were not actually on the manifest either.
Yes.
Was only declared upon the time of opening the container. Well, so okay, so that's one. So then the only other part then is which we have to question because we have not seen either, is the story with the email from the police, because the police said that they would have gotten an email.
No,
we haven't seen
well, those parts
so
that they communicated, send email and all that, which is fine. Yes, those things are true. But those things still that you did not get permission. So these people doing what they want. They do what they want up in Canada and they don't want down at the same time. They just break all the rules. Can you see, then that's just all it is.
So Bankie, suppose this what you're saying now is new information to the police that they didn't know that they didn't meet the criteria in Canada and so on. So suppose you're now opening our new part of the investigation.
They are to know, because that's common sense of them near high command. If anybody ship this thing, they should notify Canada that they work. So maybe they work.
Hold on.
You tell me these people never communicate?
I'm going based on the argument presented by the police, because they're claiming that no criminal intent. And if they would have evaded the Canadian government regulations in Canada,
exactly.
then how could that account to intent? Because then
the evaded custom, because they admit that they did not know custom would have partake in the searching of the guns. They figure police would have come, citizens and police, and take the guns. They know how to do it. They didn't know they've been dealing with customs. They're lying, to what I mean, and just say that. But that at their word, they did not know custom would have been involved. So you can't make these things up, Virgin.
What do you mean that's the word?
Well, they didn't know custom would have get it with a social content thing. When custom police would have been there and just take the gun, and then custom deal with the furniture and whatever else. You see what I mean?
Okay. Bankie, here's what, right?
Yes.
I want to remind the folks who are listening that tonight the lines are open up very early. So if you want to call in, you can call in and weigh in on the topic. The number is 1-869-662-7196. If you want to call in, 1-869-662-7196. For those of you who are new to the platform, if it's your first time listening and new to the topic, we are going to seek to give you a little backdrop of, what would have taken place and what you're hearing now if you would have just joined the live. I'll give you a little backdrop on the scenario. So on July 9, 2026, customs officers searching a 40-foot container at Calcahoun's estate, Nevis, found 15 firearms, including rifles, pistols, and revolvers, and more than, so it's not 1,500, it's more than 1,500 rounds of ammunition, according to this information here. The container had been shipped from Canada and contained personal effects belonging to home owners relocating to Nevis. The owners were reportedly retired Canadian correctional or law enforcement personnel and described as firearm collectors. Some weapons were said to be antique type firearms with trigger locks and secure packaging. The owners allegedly emailed the police before shipment, providing a list of the weapons, serial numbers, Canadian firearm licenses, and passport information. The application was not processed. And we have to bear that in mind. That's the key factor here.
Mm-hmm.
The application was not processed. And the reason being, according to the police, according to the deputy commissioner, it was missed amongst a large volume of emails during the period surrounding the music festivals. The weapons were reportedly declared to customs before the container was opened. The police concluded that the firearms were imported without the required approvals, but said there was no evidence of criminal intent. The matter was referred to customs for administrative action, and the police said they were not contemplating criminal charges. The firearms and ammunition were to remain in police custody until all legal requirements were satisfied. And that is basically a little backdrop of the story that we are engaging in our discussions this evening. So for those of you who are, joining us for the first time, or you just log in and you're hearing the conversation, the reasoning, this is what we are reasoning about. You're free to weigh in. I see some of the comments on the board, so far. We're going to get to some of those. And in the meantime, you can call in 1-869-662-7196. Don't wait until last minute. The lines are opening up pretty early this evening. We are giving you the opportunity. Sometimes a lot of folks say, well, man, y'all talk tradition, we ain't get a chance to call in and so on. You're getting an opportunity to do that now, all right? Bankie, anything to say before I get into some of the comments?
No, can't go ahead with the comments.
Okay, so Trevor Benjamin says, blessed evening, gentlemen. Trevor Benjamin says, was wondering if you guys were not coming on this evening. The Garden Hole channel says, watching, good evening all. Real Entertainment apologize for, the issues we had in the live. Thanks for joining. Oliver Liebert, which is the honey man, Ali Liebert of St. Peter's. If you need, fresh organic honey, go harvested and St. Kitts. Check them out. Always 100% organic. Nothing added. Strictly 100% pure organic honey. He says, good night, King. I'm here. Trevor Benjamin says, I'm still a bit confused about this issue. I still believe that the issue was handled badly by the police. The gentleman should have waited for a response from the competent authorities. Danny Herb, says, full joy, locked in. Trevor Benjamin says, how did the gentleman know that the police would not have rejected the application? Exactly. One of my questions. How did they know that?
But why they say it's a gentleman?
Well, sorry, I don't know. So we don't know. Nobody was named. So
it's a lady. Let me say it's a lady. Let me say it's a lady. You see this thing I'm talking about, how people assume it's a lady.
Okay,
that's
so
what
you see what I mean?
my research, I don't assume, That's what I keep on telling you guys. You see, just listen. I'll be amazed the amount of stories I hear behind this thing. And this comment, it's a lady. So let me clarify that. So it is no more gentleman, all right? Good.
All right, so Pedro Jamat says, greetings. Pedro Jamat says, why would a visitor need so many guns and rounds of ammunition? Yasmin Hanley says, Firearms Act provides that a person cannot import, export, or transport any firearms. Where is that? So it come like I went too far down the line, so let me come back up again. Yasmin said, okay, yes. Cannot transship any firearm or ammunition into through St. Kitts and Nevis except in accordance with a firearm permit. Has that law been amended? Trevor Benjamin says, Yahsonn, great point. Yasmin Hanley says, all who are incarcerated for firearm charges need to form a class action lawsuit against the AG. Francine Hakim says, whereas there are no mistakes, my question is how many other perils are getting permission to have 15 weapons and a good amount of ammunition to cause damage? And what reasons does these persons have to need 15 pow pow? What are we hunting on Nevis? Pedro Jamat says, this is what is known as organized crime. Yasmin says, prohibited weapons without the required permit carry severe criminal penalties. I see nothing in the act stating no criminal intent. Francine says, so no criminal intent, but what is the intent? Good question. Bankie, true, you're accustomed to say good evening in your greetings. You said the same thing this afternoon. Yasmin Hanley says, what is the name of the person? What is the name of the person? Were they called to the police station for questioning? What are the types of weapons? Are they collectibles or the owner is a gun collector? That was highlighted, I think, in some information that I presented there earlier. It was said that they are gun collectors and they were former police or law enforcement personnel in Canada. And they said that some of the guns were collectibles with the trigger locked and all of these things and so on. Francine Hakim says, Francine says, please discuss the intent of the persons to have 15 pow pow in the island, and that has an island that has about 12,000 people. Petro Jamat says, High Command knew about the pow pow, but not customs. Is the visitor a diplomat? That's a question.
No. But Yahsonn, you're saying High Command know about the pow pow. You should remember the person send an email, so they never see the email. Maybe they see the email late, so maybe they say they're busy. So that don't make any sense because there's no approval. The person did everything on their own within Canada against Nevis laws and regulation. So custom at the point of when they're about to clear the container, then they said because it's not on the manifest. So custom can't expect to deal with custom with this ammunition. Period. That's what they admit. They just admit they ship the container and they deal with it when it land. Custom come, police will be there, and police take the weapon and they deal with police by themselves since they send the information to police. So this is what I'm dealing with here. Remember, I'm the medium, I'm here, I'm doing the investigation, so I'm speaking different to everybody else. So anyone, especially the high command, anyone within, anyone at custom, anyone who what I'm saying, whatever it is, was it at the scene, if I'm saying anything that out of the way, because just how it went down is just how me put it. Just so, nothing half. So I either have nothing, I either have nothing. And this is the first thing they hear this down. So right there, the person rang both ways. So custom did their job within every aspect of it. And that is why custom is very happy that they do due diligence across agents to clear containers along with homeowners. Because these things, if they were slacking, easily could end up into the hands of owners and you don't know what's going on. So that's why I say you got to give customs. Yes, go ahead.
Hold on. The thing is, the person didn't make a statement. The person asked a question. So we can't pressure the person too much. They asked a question. So they said,
no, I apologize. My bad.
But not customs. Yes. Is the visitor a diplomat? So they asked the question. If they knew about it before the customs, and is the visitor a diplomat? Anyway, continue. Trevor Benjamin says, the seal on the container is only supposed to be broken by customs. That is why it is called a custom seal. Okay, and I guess that's what customs were called. Protocols were breached.
Yes.
Yasmin says goods connected with a false custom declaration are liable to forfeiture. Not allowing the owner who knowingly falsified a custom declaration should now be able to get their goods back or a permit. Yasmin says the Custom Act makes goods liable to forfeiture where they are concealed, do not correspond with customs entry. A firearms license does not cure the customs offense. Slaughterhouse says, greetings, King. Yasmin says, the Custom Act explicitly identifies firearms and ammunition as restricted imports. Trevor Benjamin says, I'm even more confused based on what Bankie is. It almost sounds like the police were to inform the customs. So customs weren't aware of the firearms and the ammunition.
Seemingly, police don't notify the armed ammunition neither. That is the whole point. They just do what they want on their own. So it's customs was surprised that ammunition is in. Yes, go ahead.
According to the police.
Yes.
I am going to say according to the police, because they said they got the email, but they didn't read the email. That's according to the police.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Right.
So it's customs is the one who did their due diligence and notify the police that they are searching a situation there, and then the police come with the attitude. You see what I mean? Roughing up the customer and them who search in the container. That's what they show you.
Why would the police come with an attitude? That don't make sense to me.
Because that's how they deal with. That is how when they're calling a scene and somebody illegal or whatever is imported, they come with the attitude that they come to kill the person. They had no good. So they're not professional.
Hold on. They come with the attitude to who? To the customer officer or to the home owner?
What are they doing in the container? What are they doing in the container? Not gonna sub and whatever. Yeah.
No, but that don't make sense. I mean, but that is customs duty.
It's a police thing. We're doing a container.
I'm just trying to figure out because it's a customs duty to do that. So how the police should be coming and having attitude with the customs?
Ask the high commander on that. At them have big press conference. Let they ask if these police been who been disrespecting the custom them been under punishment and all the things there. And them had big press conference. Otherwise, would not be to do this. You understand? We got to fact check everybody.
Good evening, everyone. Joy King says, good evening, everyone. Ras Original Lyrics says, greetings from North Carolina. No criminal intent is not necessarily the same thing as no breach of law. What does the law say? The Firearms Act states that a person must not import firearms or ammunition into St. Christopher and Nevis except under and in accordance with a firearm imports permit. That's Section 4 also makes contravention an offense. The Act separately says that a person must not possess a firearm or ammunition unless authorized by a firearm user's license, subject to specific exceptions. The 2024 amendment increased the potential penalties for an ordinary unauthorized importation. The amended Section 4 provides for a fine up to $100,000 or imprisonment of up to 15 years on summary conviction, or a fine of up to $250,000 or imprisonment of up to 30 years on indictment. The actual charge, penalty, and mode of trial would depend on the facts, classification of the weapons, and the prosecutorial decisions. The Custom Acts also lists firearms and ammunition as prohibited imports unless the written permission of the Commissioner of Police has been obtained. Let's read that sentence again. The Custom Act also lists firearms and ammunition as prohibited imports unless with the written permission of the Commissioner of Police, unless the written permission of the Commissioner of Police has been obtained. So in this case, that permission was not obtained, because according to the police, they didn't get to see the email, so they did not sign off on that. Section 109 provides a custom offense carrying a fine of up to $25,000 for importing prohibited goods. That creates the central legal question for us. If the law requires a permit before shipment, does a person commit an offense merely by proceeding without the permit, or must the authorities also prove an intention to smuggle or evade detection? And that is one of the major questions. The police appear to have focused on the second question, whether there was an intention to conceal or smuggle. But the wording of the Firearms Act appear to focus on the first, on whether the importation occurred without the required permit. That is an issue the DPP, our court, would need to clarify. It should not be treated as a settled legal conclusion without reviewing the full legislation amendments and applicable case law. And that is the deep misassessment. Yes, Bankie.
What I'm saying, everything that you've read, on their work, if you say you're shipping a pow, but you're sending the information, your application is sending to the police force wherever it's supposed to go, and it's arrived customs, and you declare it as a cost by I have a gun in there, and I don't send in the paperwork, but I ain't receive it as yet. Custom will teach you the same way, but fine you up to $50,000 if you had never declared it at the point when you them. Don't say you're smuggling, and then charge you a heftier fine. You see what I mean? That's what I'm clarifying. So everything you've been reading, so custom did their due diligence. What they will do now is hand you over to the police. Let the police them do what they're going to do with you. At least, you see what I mean? If they're going to file charges on you, or decide to let you go because you chose behind your applications and file, and then get the chance, and them got to figure out the part there. But custom don't do the part. If you had never declared it then it would have been different. So custom ain't enough for done the beautiful job, and we can't thank custom enough, because if custom was being slacked in allowing agents and homeowners and them to clear the container by trusting them, these things can go with a blind eye and not knowing. That is what is what. Okay? So the police them need to give custom kudos and don't stop the infighting, and not ask the custom done their work. Is what the police how they handle the situation. They choose to handle it that way. That they choose not to press charges.
Bankie, you seem to know a lot about this thing. So let me ask you. You know if any fine, like, so the fact that the argument
custom fine them.
Oh, so they have to pay the fine.
Of course, that's custom fine. Ain't over $50,000. Anybody could challenge me, Cause I know me come here, me come gawa me there, loaded. Challenge me, stand to be corrected by any of the high commando that there, and any of the officers seen. I'm speaking just how everything went down. Nothing on, nothing added, nothing. I've heard all the stories and listened to all the stories. And I've asked everyone, you sure about that? How you mean? Yeah, man, I mean exactly what I say. That's why I don't take on people in the talk. I always ask what, how, when, where the proof there. Nah, I just listen, because we are here to educate and not get in emotions, and here to clarify things and realize how the system itself will cover up things and not give you the full truth. They give you some of the truth, but they'll not give you the story of how everything went down. That's what it's all about. Okay? So one of the questions is, how much pow at each person who have a permit is allowed to have at any given time, and also how much ammunition, because most of these things, people who have these things, most of the ammunitions are held back by the police officers, and according to need them, they'll give you some accordingly and allow you hold X amount. So those are things I would like the high command to clarify too. You see what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
in listening to that same interview, I think that was highlighted. Somebody asked a question, and that was explained by the police. The same argument that you're presenting, that even though you may order 1,500 ammunition, usually the ammunition is held by the police, and then you would make a request whether you want 20, 25 or whatever, and then they would allow you to give that. But then I think there's some regulations that you have to bring back the shells or something to that effect. There's some counting of shells, spent shells, that you would have to show that you would have used this amount, and then you would be granted this certain amount. So yes, so that was highlighted by the police in that explanation. And what you're saying there, if they're
Yes.
fined, if they were fined, okay, fair enough. The argument presented by the police now that there was no criminal intent is now a little bit thwarted to me by this thing that you have not into the argument when you're saying that they evaded the
Did the
authority.
police them said, did the High Command said that they have paperwork to say that the authorization was given by the Canadian government or any agencies to ship all them weapons? They mentioned that.
No, that was not mentioned. That was not mentioned. The only thing
course.
mentioned was
Yes.
in
course.
relation to the
I know they
email
mentioned.
that they would have gotten.
Of course. That's
That would have
yes.
they used
correct.
as what they said that they cleared. But no, this is why I'm
Correct.
saying the information that you're presenting now puts a whole other twist or spin to the argument, because if you're now saying that, well, even from leaving Canada, that
Yes.
there are certain procedures that should have taken place in Canada, and you're
Two
saying
different
that
agencies. Two different agencies.
different agencies
But yes.
needed to deal with whatever they needed to deal with. They
And
seem
they're
like
going back and
taking
forth,
too
like
long.
which one? Is like you don't know which one. You're not giving me the direct information. Then this one Nagio says like you're frustrate me. So you know, boy, me not take on you. Me do me
They
want
put them
man.
on
Me
the
ship me
boat,
thing myself.
they put them on the
Yeah,
boat,
man. Me ship me thing.
and
Yeah, man. Me ship me
even
thing, man. I waste my time.
me ain't get clearance from
Nah, man. Nah,
Sinkis
man.
and Nevis. I just send them an email and
I
hope
got
that things work
color
out.
privilege. I got color privilege. You know what color privilege mean? I got color privilege. I got color privilege, Reggie. What are you talking about? Wow.
So let's go to some of these
You
comments
mute?
here. No, me not mute. I am just gonna resort to the comments and come back. And folks, remember, you can weigh in. The number to call in is 1-869-662-7196. If you want to weigh in and have your 2 cents on the topic. You're listening to this edition of the Topics. This edition of the Topics is brought to you by Elanda Water Sports on the Rocks, Imperial Rides, Mansa's Last Stop, Shabba's Organics, and Heritage Cafe. So, people, in the meantime, Yasmin says the Custom Act Cap 20.04 regulates declaration made to a customs. Materially false declaration can expose the declarant to a criminal liability. And Petro Gemat says, so 2 emails were sent. The first one without declaration, and then a second one that arrived later didn't arrive. Trevor Benjamin says, Nevis would not make a statement. The Commissioner of Police is the one in charge. The Controller of Customs in charge. Elisha Fobb says, there need to be a class action suit. A class action suit should be filed by everyone that has gotten in trouble guns. The customs officer has oversight. The customs could have denied the police access to the container. The firearms legislation requires a firearm import permit before importing firearms or ammunition. So which means that was breached because they didn't get any permit. Those pow-pows should have never entered the Federation in the first place. No permission was granted. I think it was intentional. Who's to say how many more has already been brought in? And that's a very good question as well. Yasmin says, what is the name of the owner of the container? Is she not a real person, or is she an AI? What is the ethnicity? Well, Bankie just spoke about color privilege, so I would want to presume that she's definitely not our of our complexion or of
Yes,
our hue.
the person is a Caucasian.
Okay, and
But no name. So do not ask for the name because the crime was not committed in customs. So there's no reason for customs to send a name, and the high command say ain't no charges. So that's why no name is reason. So can't no name. So make up a name if I make up a name. Call the person Paul Paul. Paul Paul. That's the person name. She's a Paul Paul. All right.
so
That's good enough.
Russ' original lyric says, "My question is, will these pow be handed back over to the owner if the owner submitted the papers they require?" Well, I really don't
Very
know,
good
and you know,
question. Very good
Bankie,
question.
another thing, right, Bankie. We have this sort of 9-day mentality here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Something happens, and it's a hot story, a hot topic for 9 days, and then you don't hear anything about it again. And so, you know, all of these things, you know, you are bringing some things to light because now we know that they were fined. I know that there would have been, I know personally that there would have been some further investigation by the DPP. What the findings were from his investigations, we don't know because that was not brought to the public. I know because I met him personally when he came over on Nevis. We just happened to meet up. I was over at Oli to pick up some folks and happened to meet him while he was waiting for the officer to come and pick him up and so on. And we had a little conversation and he gave me a little idea, insight into what brought him over, you know, these parts and so on and so forth. And so he told me that was one of the things that he was going to be investigating. So I know it would have gotten to that level. One of the problems I have, Bankie, is this: everything has to be shrouded in secrecy like that. I mean, if it was a local, like, I mean, look how they put you and Jama in the newspaper for something that they all even really shouldn't even be in there for.
Yeah, but yes, and
right?
no law was broken. No law was broken.
Okay.
They were just fine. The procedure is fine. That's. I just give the full story why this.
Right.
So in assumption no more. I gave you all the full story, and this is how the High Command choose to handle it. Did they investigate or goes back to Canada to know how Canada know about this thing before they left Canada?
Okay. So
the whole point.
Hold on. So
the leave is left out.
So okay. So then, if with that information now, does that amount to criminal intent? Because if you would have invaded, if you would have
a five green man there, look like a Hulk, pant up in a press conference in a green like a Hulk. At them at the High Command, you know.
Bankie, when they were providing that information, right? The information that you are presenting now was not presented. So I am
presuming, information, yeah.
I am presuming
so
that
they hide it.
I am presuming that they didn't know that.
Well, they ought to have known. Well, they ought to have known. That's why I get jump
maybe now the information you're presenting might
open up
for further.
Well, let the calling on this show now. Well, let the calling on this show. Let those who try to sing, let the calling on this show and state the case. They had a press conference. We could have press conference tonight, you know.
Yeah, Yasmin Hanley says, okay, so Madam Pow is related to who? Allah was broken, guns and ammunition were imported without permission. So her argument is, Bankie, that Allah was broken. Allah was broken because guns and ammunition were imported without a permission. Full stop. Because really and truly, yes, according to what
Listen
the
me
act
again.
said.
Yahsonn. Customs did their due diligence at the point where they're about to open to say they're going to break the seal. The lady tell the custom officer and presenter said, I have guns inside there. The person, and show them all the information. The person called the higher command of the customs, and then they come. The custom notify the police authority to bring the canine unit and whatever. The custom at the same before the police come in the container. The homeowner to show them these things. They show them too safe. Custom didn't take their word for it. When the police come, they get the attitude, they go in the canteen with the dog, sniff out the whole place. Custom take the guns with them, go back to the port, do the due diligence, go through, record everything, do their reporting, boom, 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 boom. Then, so you're telling me, if the person did not say, no, what I'm saying, Virgin, because I may tell you how custom do the work. You cannot go against custom, because it's like, you know, go against custom rules. If they did not,
hold on.
let me finish.
Let me
say.
Oh, wait, Bankie, here. Yeah, I'm not telling you that custom didn't do their job, you know. Listen to what I am saying.
About the laws. You keep saying about the laws and all this and all that. Custom, not the laws too.
No. But remember what you are saying. You are saying that customs were not privy to the information until they went to open the container.
Yeah, so because of that.
Hold on.
So because of.
But here's what I am saying, Bankie. Here's what I am saying. According to the act and the law, it says if you bring in guns, pow and ammunition without the permit, it is illegal. And they didn't get the permit. So the fact is, they came here and they didn't get a permit. Yes. That is the point that we're making. So whether they did a good job by when they do find out, I'm not trying to deny all of that. The fact is, they brought it in, they didn't get permission, they were waiting on permission, they didn't get it. So just the fact that you bring it in, like the example that I used when I started the program, when I said I applied to the police for permission to have my dance. I am waiting for the police. I remember when I used to do promotion sometime the night before, the day before you get the pass, but you can't do nothing until you get the pass. So what I am saying is they did not get the pass. And so which means if I gonna work at my dance and police come lock me up or charge me, I broke the law.
Well,
so that's
the
all
DPP, the police have to handle their part, you know. Custom did their part. Is the police handle their part or they choose to handle their part? That's what I'm saying.
Right, so I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that the custom didn't do a good job. They did what they need to do when they got the
information. Is not custom, you know? The problem is not custom. The problem is the police. Is the police how they deal with the situation. That's the whole point. That's what I'm saying. Custom part is clear.
The problem is the homeowner who didn't get permission.
Well, yes, that's true. Well, that's the whole point. Well, yes, of course. That's the whole point. Them along with the police. That's the whole point.
Well, okay, so I understand clearing the customs a bit. I understand they did a very good job when they did.
Well, I have to. Well, I have to.
So
yes. Yes. I have to.
That's all I'm saying. I was just trying to clarify that point that the reality is.
Well, they've been done already. Long time in the show.
If you didn't get permission, then you did something illegal. Regardless of whether you sent email and all of that, you did something illegal.
But yes, minutes we go back and forth. We don't stay. This is start from Canada and a Virgin. So it's not like we repeat what we don't. So we say against what we don't say. The process start from Canada with two different agencies. So at the post that the problem, that's why they're doing what they want. I've been saying it all evening. The post they're doing what they want because they have Caucasian
you broke up a little bit there.
No, I said I got Caucasian privilege.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. But go ahead.
So why are we in a predominantly Cable and African colored people are allowed to not have African color privilege? Anyway, let's get back to some of the comments here. At the press conference, let me go back. I think the last one I read was the same one here about the permission. Okay. What's good for the goose must be good for the gander. The law cannot be applied to some while others are allowed to blatantly disregard it without consequence. Gotti Brown says someone asked that question if the police would give them back their guns if they file necessary paperwork. Police say it is up to them. Right? Meaning up to the police, they're going to give them back.
If they approve.
Gotti Brown says the listeners need to go look up the police press conference and listen themselves. And yes, and we encourage you to do that too. That's one of the reasons why we would have brought it to the fore, so you can, you hear a bit of what we said and then you can always go back and listen to the entire press conference. it's called the topics because, you know, we bring topics to the fore that sometimes, as we say, you know, we function like a 9-day people. 9 days, the story hot, and then you hear nothing about it again. Well, we start to bring it back here and, you know, engage you, the listening public, and get your views and opinions. So we're reading your comments and we have the lines open. If you want to call in, the number is 1-869-662-7196. They're sliding across the screen. So if you're listening us, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook, and we want to encourage you, want to take some time right now as we are reading these comments to encourage you to go on over to our YouTube platform, take 10 seconds, go like, share, click on the notification bell so that every time we have a show that you're informed. And you can do the same thing if you're logged on Facebook, subscribe, like, share, click on the notification bell so that every time we have a program that you are updated and informed. Petro Gemat says Customs did their job and the DPP did his. The Pow sorry, Gotti Brown says the Pow having Canada license is no significance because a foreign driver still supposed to. What's going on here? My screen has gone, so I don't know what's going on here. So,
Wow. Seem like Yahsonn have been frozen. We're sorry about that. As we continue the conversation, the telephone number, if you want to be a part of the show discussion, is 1-869-662-7196. I want to thank all those who tuning into Real Entertainment Network and really appreciate you guys for all the comments. You have Trevor Benjamin here, charged in the amount of $100,000, but was charged $50,000 for 15 firearms in excess of over 1,500 ammunition. Remember, I didn't give an exact figure, I say they are charged up. So the same will be the same boy. All right. But definitely we have. So you see a situation like this, and to see how information is given, how information can be twisted. As you can see, there's many infighting going on within the high. And I just see in the first conference, these guys are uncomfortable looking up in the ear and speaking in all kind of different ways. Because what's the cover up? Because the reality is you're supposed to wait until you get permission. You can't just do it. You just put stuff inside of a container, mark on personal item. So custom don't know what is on the paper or anything like that. You just figure, well, you would not be dealing with customs when you have things set up in your own head, how you're going to do things. And it just to show you when you're on a small island, and if you're not strict within, you see, let me say this to especially the young people who work within the government system, as a young extension officers and those who are out there going within the community and stuff like that. When you go to people home and they offer you doing your work, if you want and all this different stuff, tell them no, you're all right. When you go as labor officers to these hotels and stuff like that, and then those in charge will tell you, oh, do you want, let's talk over lunch and over breakfast, and you go to represent and employ, denounce those stuff, because how would that these things look when you do their work and you're eating and all this different stuff. Refuse people drink their thing and they cook, they like to offer your card, to offer you stuff when you go to their yard. Me I got water in my hand. I got back with me. So then they come after me, any drink, any coke, anything, no, I'm all right. Those are way of softening you up and stuff like that. So when I'm here, I'm speaking to people and over 40, people set in their ways. So I have a lot of young people listening to the show and inspired by what I'm doing. And it's them who I want to encourage, keep the head up, keep up this, and stay focused. You all are the future, which is now. Many don't want to move out their situation where they are and let you all, but eventually you all will come in, because one thing they can't stop is youth. That's just the reality. So if they're not looking at a situation like this, but Yahsonn, you want to continue?
Yeah, I was just going through. I don't know, sorry, but I want to apologize for dropping out.
Start the break, and then we're going to the break.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about dropping out. It seemed as if I was having a little bit of technical issue on my side. It seemed as if when I went back and listened, I realized I was talking, but even though my screen wasn't on, I was still on. But then eventually, yeah, I had to reload and start again. Okay, so I think I left off with um, Trevor. I think it was something Trevor was saying. Well, let me see if I could get back
Yeah, I read
to.
that. I read that. I read that already. But
Okay,
I read that
so
with yeah.
um, all right. So then you were the one about. Okay, so Yasmin said the name of the owner. What's the name of the okay, no, so we read that already too. Yes. Okay, all right, yeah, we did all of that. Um, okay, so Trevor Benjamin says one can be charged up to 100,000, but the charge was 50,000. Okay, Canada. Yasmin says Canada requires that prohibited firearms and ammunition to a foreign country requires an export permit from Global Affairs Canada (GAC) before export. So only personal effects was declared. Kudos to the custom officers. So, Bankie, seemingly there's a lot of little other things as you highlighted. In this case, was not necessarily declared by the police force when they had their press
Well, you know,
conference.
me come correct. You know, when they come on
So
this
it's
thing here, we come
either,
educate. You know, we're not just gonna he says she said thing. You know,
so it's
and the
either
chat
they did,
jit you
either
know,
they
we come
didn't know,
right.
it's
Or they
either they
didn't
didn't
know.
know or they were trying to conceal information.
Okay, we have
Yeah,
an express conference again.
because based on what we are hearing here, I
Or they come
mean,
on the topics.
they're talking about Global Affairs Canada, and I guess people can go and look up that. If you're going to export a gun from Canada, what are some of the processes? And I guess Bankie spoke of two different agencies, and I guess this must be one, and I don't know the other one that he mentioned that they would have been having some back and forth within Canada in terms of getting that sort of clearance. But seemingly,
Yes.
based on the information presented here, they did not get such permission. So which means they
Hmm?
intentionally evaded the customs
Mm-hmm.
and whatever other actions that they needed to deal with in the Canadian sector. And then also, even though they wrote the letter to the police or the email, they did not make any declarations on the
To custom
customs
either. Good.
farm.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
so then, bearing these facts in mind, and I'm going on the premise now, Bankie, that based on the fact that it was not highlighted in the commissioner's press conference, that they didn't know. So now that this information is out there, because based on what you're saying, this puts another spin on no criminal intent. Because if you could go through the process of knowing that you should have gotten some declaration from Canada, didn't get that, knowing that you should have made declaration to customs and you didn't do that, then how could you conclude that there is or was no criminal intent or no intent to conceal or sorry, so let me take out the criminal intent. No intent to conceal or smuggle any weapons in the country. So these are some really interesting questions. Trevor um, says kudos to the custom officers. Gotti Brown says, I hope those 15 power powers are included in the police list of recovered
No man,
illegal.
tall. The people have to give out the things them. They have to give out the people the things them. You mad? We
Banking,
recovery.
police,
They have to give the
buses
people
too. Stop blaming the police. Jetty Taylor says, Banking police got buses too. Stop blaming the police.
me not blame
You know,
nobody. I'm just giving it, me not blame my soul. Me
interesting
not blame
discussion.
nobody.
And I'm loving the comments from the folks and the world. This is quite an interesting scenario. And Petro Jamat says, because they are for a collection.
No.
Right, so
Don't
if
know
they're
what.
for a collection, why do they need more than 1,500 rounds of ammunition? Anyway, I see my
Yeah.
technician is here, so which means it's time for us to take that break and hear a word from our sponsors.
And
I
we'll be
want to
right back.
encourage you in the meantime. You can go on our YouTube platform, click on the notification bell. Everybody who is logged on, if you're logging on for the first time, subscribe to the platform, click on the notification bell, and we will be back when we're back. Phone lines are open. You can make your calls. See you on the other side.
Beat the summer heat. Come and get your carambola, star fruit, make very nice drink. You can come pick them yourself. All the trees them full of vitamin C, antioxidant, build up your immune system. Mine's the last stop. A whole shopping bag for only $10. Half a shopping bag you pay $5. If you get $2, you must get some. Come get your carambola. Don't want to go to wait. Let's go, people.
When comfort, class, and reliability matter, choose the ride that delivers more. Imperial Rides Transportation Services, where every journey is treated like royalty. From airport transfers, private events, shopping trips, island tours, and executive travel, Imperial Rides moves you in style, clean, comfortable, on time, every time. Book your premium taxi or tour service today. Call or WhatsApp 869-665-8459 or email elandflavas@gmail.com. Imperial Rides Transportation Services. Your journey, our priority.
Discovery Den is more than a business to me. It's a passion project inspired by experiences as both a CPA and a mother. Today, my mission is to provide a welcoming space where children can discover, create, imagine, and grow through play, while giving parents the confidence that every experience is designed to nurture their child's development. I believe that every child deserves the opportunity to discover their potential, and I'm honored to bring that opportunity to families in Nevis through the Discovery Den.
Sorry, remember, it's Simple Stupid Wednesdays every Wednesday at Heritage Cafe. Go on out to check them out. Specials on Wednesdays. Yeah, the menu, you got, your pumpkin soup, your, conch chowder, fish burger, chicken burger, heritage burger, and you can get your conch fritters, sawfish balls, and maybe there just might be something else on the menu for you tomorrow. So check them out, give them a call, and be sure to check them out. Open from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. for lunch daily. And we are working on getting ready for Saturday breakfast. So keep your ears open for breakfast on Saturday at Heritage Cafe inside the Heritage Village on Gingerland, Nevis. And we are back. Yes, we are back with part 2 of the topics for this evening. And we want to thank all of you who have been making your comments. Somebody's saying here, GAG recommends using its export control online. XCOL, the system, application should be made well in advance as prohibited firearms and ammunition application face substantially longer processing. And so Yasmin is really doing some research in relation to Canada and Canada regulations in terms of exporting guns, making it clear that those who brought in the guns should have known of the process, and if the were not processed, would not have made any attempts to bring them in. So these are some serious issues that has been brought to the fore right now. And so I don't know if this is going to require another press conference. I don't know if this is going to require some changes in relation to the position that the police would have had now that this information is brought to the fore. And if we are to presume that they knew this before and still brought a story like that to us, then that is not necessarily having a lot of confidence, placing a lot of confidence in our police by the public, which I know that a lot of people do not, in a lot of cases, have a lot of confidence already, and so this is definitely not a good thing for them. So I'm hoping, I'm gonna work on the premise that they didn't know, but now they know. I'm looking forward to what actions will be taken, whether it's by the DPP and or the high command of the police in relation to
Yes, and
this.
the reality is, I really didn't have an interest when it come to speaking on this topic. I just listened to the conversation, but I'm thinking it happened. Yasmin been just in my ear every minute. I can't get a break. I just laugh and laugh. I say, eventually, if I feel like it, I'll do it. But I mean, I couldn't get a break, brethren. This girl just done me short. You understand? So I say, all right, I'll think, and then I make up my mind, and then is the timing is right, and I did the what I usually have to do, and as you say, I come back with no. So, okay, if I was the kind of person who just gonna go and said, repeat what people said, I would have been just repeating the same set of things. And as you realize, what I said this evening, no one ever speak like that. So it shows that I have my information down pack. And the high commander, anyone or the home, the young lady challenge me or whatever it is, says them to see and if the person had permission from out of Canada. And as I said, they had no intention of speaking to deal with custom, to be dealing with the police officers. But Yahsonn, we have a call coming in here. Let me take this caller.
Yes.
Caller, good evening. Welcome to the topics.
Good evening, Bankie. Good evening, Yahsonn. Man, I've been monitoring this situation from beginning, and this is what I see. When it happened, how I found out about it, I ran across it. Police, the Royal St. Kitts, Nevis, Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force put out a press release. And what that press release said was that customs and the guns and ammunition.
Yes.
And I got the impression from that.
Yes.
That this was a case of a big fine, I mean. But what jumped out at me immediately is that they concealed the name of the suspects. That's what it is, the suspects.
Because no criminal charges have been why they acted like this.
No. Walk with me, Bankie. Walk with me.
Well, I'm just telling you what they said. That is what everybody declared. That's what I'm just telling you that.
Mr. King, please allow me to present.
Well, go ahead, but I'm just still have to tell you the reason for that. We have been past all that, but go ahead.
Okay. So they got the press release came out. They said they uncovered these things in a container in a house in Cohones. And what jumped out at me, very first thing jumped out at me is that they withheld the names of the people. Okay. He went on, and then I came across a release where the police was saying that there was no criminal intent. And there was a female journalist there who held them to account. He said, listen, the customs last day didn't say anything about intent. They say you have to have permission. They did not have permission. So don't go find some excuse now. You don't start treating them differently without withholding a name. If it was me, you, Ajama, I'll be naming, I'll be face right over Facebook, social media. You know it.
I can't say that.
Well,
I can't say that because,
that don't happen.
well, I'm just, I understand.
Let me finish, Mr. King. Let me finish, please.
Well, you make it, you can't say I have to come in Virgin. You can't say how you feel. I mean, I comment, you know, say work in a Virgin, so calm down. But go ahead.
No, Mr. King,
Go ahead.
you said limited time. You give me
Tell you not about no time, so don't tell me that. Because I never tell you about no time. I not tell you that. So don't assume me not tell you that. So go ahead, talk.
Yeah, and distraction is kind of...
No, but you saying I saying things that I don't say. So go ahead, talk.
Okay, the point I was making is
Yes.
if it was a local person, they'd plaster him all over the internet. And you know it happened.
I can't say that.
Well, you don't have to say nothing.
Yes.
You don't have to say anything.
Yes.
Just allow me to present the point I'm trying to make. The double standard I can't handle. Well, they use the law one way for the locals, and they use the law another way for somebody coming in. And you know what irks me? Is the citizens of Canada. First thing they do, they withhold the name. Then they're making excuses why they break the customs law. There's a female journalist that made it clear. He said, listen, the customs law say you have to have permission. And they're saying that they knew that as they wrote, but they didn't. So once they bring them in without permission, they break the law. The crime has been committed. So they might try to clean up this. No. You have one law for locals and one for Canadians and for foreigners coming in. And this is the problem I have. Where our leaders gonna give people coming in who could probably pay them off. That's what it is. And give them a free pass. Tax free. And the locals, they just keep gouging them. Where the locals are getting money from? When you don't give away, you will let them pay. Every time they turn around, house tax, vehicle tax, every time they turn around, they're taxing them. And the locals are pay. But the people who come in, so they got money and they're investors. They come in with a long hand. I want to borrow money to say they might invest. No, it's wrong. And our leaders need to get it together. They need to get it together. And I don't know how the average division don't understand. Where some people getting paid by the millions every so often. And the average local must settle for a job. Walk them to death. Slavery all over again. All right, sir.
All right, Carl, I appreciate the call. But Yahsonn, what the caller say make a lot of sense because we all can agree. But the High Command chose not to say they're going to press charges. But what the lady home done is wrong. We all can agree on that. The issue is how, as we said, how the police was handling the situation. But not for whatever reason they're protecting this person. That's what I'm saying. Why are they protecting this person? Custom did their part. They hand over the person to custom, to the police, along with the gun. They choose not to arrest the person. They choose to take back the person home, you know. And they came back the person home, you know. And then came back the person home. You understand? They choose not to arrest. The problem is within the High Command. You can't. Yes. Because what I say here, the president is set now, eh? Because if you know go and send things, anyone who go and send things after this, they can't say they're gonna arrest the person, you know, because this home owner already set the president. That's the reality. This president already been set, so they can't go change this and no. Get the caller coming in, Yahsonn.
Yeah,
Caller, good evening.
Yeah, Bankie.
Yes.
A quick point is where something. Oh shoot, it's slippy.
Take your time.
Yeah, it's slippy.
All right, no problem. So, yes, and this is, as you said, the laws, you all read out the laws and stuff, but the police choose to say, because they declare to custom, even though they not get, and they send the email and they make excuse with music file, so they were busy, that they don't hold water. And you all should be ashamed to even mention that the five are your Hulk up, then I brown, green, whatever it is, green Hulk, talking this crap, boy, busy for music festival. You all answer email. You are supposed to have a clerk who check on emails coming in on a daily basis and stuff like that. So that the whole water, you all should be put and leave. You all shouldn't have a guards up there, a press conference about this crap when I can seeing police are coming out, the customs and all kind of crap. Nah, the four of them should be put and leave. That make no sense. Put them to go write ticket and all kind of something in the town. No, this is crap. This is nonsense. You can see the nonsense in this virgin. The person, what it is, they choose not to arrest the person when the person themselves admitting that they don't know that they have to deal with custom. So they're avoiding custom right away. You can't make up them things, yeah? You see what I mean? And then putting it over like custom found, custom and not search. No, the people in them declare it, custom come, custom says, show me what they did, and the boom safe. They put it over the customer search something and find guns. Them they fast news reporting too.
But
you put it over the news report.
Bankie, you say that they were trying to evade customs, and I guess based on the information that you provided, that can be seen.
The lady said that she did not know should have had to do with custom here. So she avoided custom. She deal straight with the police.
And I'm hearing you. You're talking about a conversation you and the lady had. Here's what I am saying.
Me and the lady had a conversation.
No, sorry. Well, whoever the lady had the conversation with, right? Here's what I am saying. The police in their press conference said the opposite to what you are saying. You are saying
that of course.
They invaded customs. The police are saying that
willfully, because at the point now, when they were open the container, they admit, but by they're avoiding custom by shipping it. Okay, it's not on the manifest, Virgin. It is not on the manifest. It's just personal items on the manifest. That's it. Simple personal items. Not fitted pow, not over 1,500 rounds of ammunition, different labels, names of this, nothing like that. Are too safe with ammunition inside there. Nothing like that is on the manifest. So what the police saying?
So question.
Yes.
Know that. Okay, this is out now that they sort of evaded the Canadian agencies. Do they stand a chance of being prosecuted by the Canadian agencies for trying to evade them and exporting guns out of Canada? Powers. They're law enforcement agency. Huh? Why am I asking it?
So you ask the question. How you talk to yourself? Come in and lie.
I'm asking you.
You ask me.
Well, I'm asking you, general public. Anybody who can answer.
Exactly. You ask me.
Yes.
You know what you're talking about?
So I hear that, but that's interesting. If the firearms are Canadian, Canadian prohibited firearms, there is a much more serious restriction. Canada's rules generally permit export of those firearms only to countries on the AFCCL. Nevis on the automatic firearm. So is Nevis on the automatic firearms control list? That's the AFCCL. Well, all of these are questions that would be should be geared towards those who are in authority and those who could answer these questions. Very good questions, and I can tell that our callers and our listeners are very keen and would have done some research on the issue. Over on the YouTube, sorry, on the Facebook side of things, Jetty Taylor says, Gigi Williams Ski, Jetty Taylor says, Canada don't play when it comes to pow pows. I always make sure nothing in my car when I drive over there. He says, if this was Turks or Bahamas, nobody get away with not even one piece of ammo. Steve Mills says, good night, guys. I have made that same comment that Canadian government has strict regulations when it comes to pow and ammunition. And another question is, how did these weapons pass through the border with America without notifying the US government? He says, we need to see a picture of those pow-pows and the ammunition. If it was a local person, all kinds of pictures would be out. He says, how did the man get a waiver to transport the pow-pow through the United States? Well, we don't know if they were travel to the United States. And we did say earlier that he's not a man either. So go ahead, Bankie.
Yeah, Yahsonn, as you realize, the people, the community is very personal about this because they all have the same way. The locals are treated different than the immigrants that are coming here to invest and not being treated with the laws at the same full brunt of it, because others are getting prosecuted, but they look at the situation as being different, between laws have been broken, and the high command screwed up big time too. They make an excuse of them own self by using music festival. So because music festival, the work shut down and stuff like that. So nobody in the office checking email, everything just. So this is the reason why. So they mess up. So because they mess up, and the person ship without getting a respond, that is really messed up with the high command and how much excuse they are making with this. They know it was not supposed to ship until they get caught. They could have denied the person. They did not. So they could have denied the person. You see what I mean? Of bringing in this stuff. So it's not like they could have, or is it automatically yes? They could have denied them for some reason.
Bankie, based on the information, and this is why I'm saying I'm going based on the information provided at the press conference. From the impression given at the press conference, the police was not aware. Because remember, they're saying that they didn't get to see the email. The argument
of
was...
Course. We know it's customs call them.
So then customs call them at the day when customs are opening the container. No.
Custom call Nevis Police get involved, and whoever the high command in Nevis calls tell sink it. Not the call sink it, you know. Is Nevis, people come, Nevis get notified, police get notified and come with the dog. And not sink it, you know. Nevis notified, you know, because Nevis with the high command in sink it had the press conference over the situation in Nevis. You understand? That's the way it is. There was nova, yeah. Is what is up here state handling situation. They had the press conference in sink it and saying with what information, how they want to put it. They choose to put it. That's it. Yahsonn.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's just interesting hearing the police commissioner saying one thing, and information now presenting another thing. So I just have to work with, like I said, I'm working with what the commissioner said. The commissioner said that he didn't know. He didn't get to see the email.
Well, of course, yes, and he did not know. I stated custom notified the police up here to bring the kind of a situation with some guns, so to bring the dog. I state the case over and over, and they don't know. They notify after the Nevis police notify them shortly, they whatever, and within an hour when it's at this side securing what they're doing, the information already online. So who's the information there? You see what I mean? Within an hour when customs still on the job by the house, when they dealing with the container, the information come to the people in phone. So you can't make this stuff up. So whole information. The police them who on the scene. Eh? you see what I'm talking about? So this is to show you within an hour of securing the scene and whoever, and the police arrival, information done out while they're doing their work. So these are the situations we have at hand. We know we live in a system where is the justice is that's just because every act and whoever have been read out and stuff like that, which in the charges, who's supposed to press the charges is the DPP and the Office of the Public Prosecutor and stuff like that. Cost some heart. That's what they turn over the person to the police along with the ammunitions. You see what I mean? At those others, yeah.
I have to now make an appeal to the DPP to come on our platform and let us know what is the findings of the investigations he would have done, because I know he would have done some investigations. What I don't know is the findings. I would have heard some information that some persons were charged and so on, but I haven't heard anything confirmed, so I don't want to go on any hearsay. I would really love if not, even if you don't come on the platform, at least put out some sort of press conference or press release. Sorry, it might not have to be a conference, but at least a press release to give an update on his findings when he did his investigation with this case is concerned. So in the meantime, Yasmin would seem like she would have done some more research. So she says Nevis is not listed on the Canadians' automatic firearms country control list. The current Canadian list does not include St. Kitts and Nevis, hence Canada did not issue an export permit to Nevis. Okay, so so here is where are the guns and ammunition. We are the guns and ammunition now. Nevis is not a AFCCL destination. Well, yeah, but the police have them at this point.
Yes.
That's what the press conference would have said. They said that they would have held on to the ammunition and they held on to the pow-pows until further investigation.
Well, I guess they're gonna approve the permit, ain't it? So they're gonna approve the permit and give them back the things. What are they gonna do? They must they're gonna give back the things.
Where should we have to guess? Where should we have to guess? Why not have follow-up stories and issues like this? You said that is what they're going to do, but we are guessing. Well, let me not say guess. You're speaking as if that is what they're going to do, but we don't know.
Of course. Of course.
You know that they invaded the Canadian arms of whatever they're supposed to get clearance from, and they didn't get a pass here. So the police going to say, well, okay, we're going to give them a pass now because we didn't see the letter because of music festival. So we're going to give you the pass now, give you the guns and the pow-pows, and y'all could do what y'all feel like. That's what you're saying?
That's what me just say. That's exactly what you say. That's the way it's going to be. All right, let me take this call here.
Yes.
Caller, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Bankie, I remember what I was going to say now.
Yes.
Okay, so if they bring in 15 guns, right?
Pow-pows.
What explanation?
15 pow-pow.
Yeah, 15 pow-pow.
Yes.
What explanation have they given for the 1,500 rounds of ammunition?
Over.
That is not a collection.
Yes. The love pow-pow.
That is the starting of a young army.
The love pow-pow.
Who them a defense? Who them a bill of defense against?
I know.
I've been Nevis people. I've been Nevis.
But what is the limit? Is there a limit of when it comes to having guns here, each household?
Well, the police need to tell us that. But what I'm saying, 15 guns is bad enough. 1,500 rounds of ammunition. That is a supply for an army.
Over 1,500.
We have to pay attention to that.
Yes.
After the guns, that many guns
How
as a collection. Yeah.
No, the person is a collector of gun, the guns are not, no. Some of the guns is in working condition. The power is in condition. And from different models, it's not like they now work. And even if a power is 200 years old, it still work.
I accept all that.
Yes.
I said, even if they try to pass it off, which you can't pass that as...
Of course.
I mean, that's acceptable. You can try to pass off 1,500 rounds of ammunition. Do you know explanation for that?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, our leader say, about no, 1,500 rounds of ammunition, and that came out in the press release.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, Carla. Yes, son.
Okay. Well, we got some comments here. Petro Jamat says the prosecutor in prosecuting. Spoiler Flick says 1,500 small. He has been corrected by saying over 1,500 rounds of ammunition. He says that rinse off in a range in one day. Okay, but remember, we don't have any ranges over here, Spoiler Flicks. Anyway, though, in relation to the amount, right? And this is when I remember during the press conference, Bankie, at the point that I highlighted to you, where the police argument was, this is not necessarily strange, because what he said, what they said, I don't remember which one, he said that usually people will bring in a large quantity, a certain quantity, but
of course,
the police is the one who hold on to them and then give them a certain amount. So it's not like they bought in the 1,500 or more than 1,500, and then they would have the whole 1,500 home by them. According to the police, if I stand to be corrected, but I think that's what I heard during the press conference, that you would be allowed to bring them in, the police or whoever authority will hold on to them, and when you want, you would come and you would bring back the spent shells. So if you would have taken 20 the first time, you're supposed to be able to bring back the 20 spent shells, and then upon presenting the spent shells and making your request, then you would get another maybe 20 or 30 or whatever it is that you request. So it's not that you're getting all of that at one point. So I just wanted to clarify that point. Remember the number to call in if you want to call in. We still got a couple more minutes. 1-869-662-7196. That's 1-869-762. 1-869-662-7196. That's the number if you want to call in. Donkey, Monkey, and no, well, I think there are different rounds that I use for taking care of the animals, Spoiler Flicks. So I don't think that would be a nice excuse. I think the rounds that I use for those are different, and I think it's some they use tranquilizer darts and or pellet ammunition and so on. So not a good one, Spoiler. I'm not really gonna get away with that one. But anyway, seriously, on another note, this is a topic that we really thought that we should have brought to the public, and we're really loving the feedback from the public. Yasmin says, SKN statutory rule says a person may possess only a particular number of rounds. I don't know the number, and so the police would have to, or those in authority would have to specify that number. But I remember the question was asked at the press conference, and that was the response that was given by, I don't remember which one of the members of the hierarchy of the police force who were there at the time. But I look forward to hearing from the DPP and their findings. That was something
remember, if with the monkey program and the donkey program and stuff like that, those will be different. You see what I mean? Because they're bringing in large amount because they're hunting. But like for a personal use, you're not going to do nothing like that. You see where I'm coming from? So that is the cases is different. The other stuff. Then they'll add who have the team, they'll add in a bulk and these kind of things and so forth. So I can understand, but then when it comes to personal use, you just, if you don't have 100 rounds, or do not you see what I mean? It's different if you're going to shoot monkeys and donkeys on a daily basis. Then this is not the case. This is totally different. But it's something
All
that
right.
that affecting the community, and the community really is not pleased about how the situation has been handled, and the high command, the excuse that been making, it sees that the people is not buying it, and it is very sad.
But the information that you provide this evening, my brother, paints a whole other picture and puts something into perspective. So I am now wondering after this show, if there isn't going to be, if it wasn't done before, if some more further investigation will not be necessary for this, in the sense that what is being claimed is that the authorities that should have given clearance to export the ammunition and pow-pows from Canada did not take place. So the evasion would have started from in Canada, where they should have started the process. So they should have been processed in Canada to be exported to St. Kitts and Nevis. And then when they got here, they should have been declared at customs, which seemingly they were not, because based on what you're saying, they were not on the manifest. So all that is present, from what we understand, is two things. One, and we don't even know for sure if that was done, but I'm going based on what the police would have reported in the press conference, that they would have been emailed. They would have gotten an email which they did not get a chance to process or to look at because of the amount of emails that would have been coming through at our music festival. That is the excuse. I mean, not use excuse. That was the explanation given by the high command of the police force and St. Kitts and Nevis. However, now we're hearing something else, where it was not on the manifest and it was not declared in Canada. So we have two unanswered questions, in the sense of one, well, we say only one, because you said that they would have been fined. So let me not, that one I guess would have been dealt with in relation to the customs, because they would have breached our customs by bringing them in without getting the permission. So you're saying for that, they would have been fined. You don't know how much, at least you have that presented that information in relation to how much they have been fined. We don't know. Okay, so that is that part.
Up to $50,000.
But we don't know how much. It can be 10,
good.
It can be 5.
Good, yeah.
It can be right. But we know it could be up to 50. But what we're saying is, you said that they were fined. We don't know how much they were fined.
Yes.
We know now, which we don't know if the police knew, but now seemingly this has been brought into the public. I think it warrants some further investigation, in the sense that the claim is being made that the required needed for exportation from Canada were not met either. So seemingly they were smuggled out of Canada, according to the information that's being provided, because they did not go through the proper channels and proper procedure. So they were smuggled out of Canada into St. Kitts and Nevis, and if they were not on the manifest, then we can say that they were attempting to smuggle it into Nevis until they made the declaration when the container was supposed to be opened by the custom officials. So
correct.
These are some things that, and this is based on the information that we have here presently. So I would love to call on the DPP to do some follow-up now that this is being provided. And yes, we can take the call.
Carla, good evening. Welcome to the Topics. Night.
What I want to know from the High Command, right? How can they prove to us, the public, that there is no crime intent? How they can prove that? I like them to prove that to the public.
Can't wait. That's what they say.
You know, they can prove that, Benjamin, because they say so.
Yeah. And
I don't understand what I want in this place. And when we say to us, you know, as poor people, we got to be mindful and over where these people deal with, because they intend to rule with an iron fist. Good evening.
Good evening, Carl. Yahsonn,
Why?
this is
You
this
know, it,
is this
yeah,
is
go ahead.
this is straightforward in a virgin. You see what I mean? And what the High Command is saying, hold water. That's just what it is. They're using as music festival as an excuse because email has been sent to them, and because they didn't get time to check the email and respond. There's a time frame you didn't have to approve these people, but they send all these things, and you know, if you're not, we don't want, we don't want, and they'll review these things and stuff like that. And they said, you know what? No, we're gonna accept one, if anything, or two, but not all these others and whatever. Anything can possibly say, which mean this is madness. Just let me make sure this person can be do this person be in here, you know.
Okay, well, you know, in the meantime, as Bankie is trying to ascertain if this caller is gonna be online or want to be online, I'm gonna go through a couple of things here. Question: is the police response justifiable? Partly because it requires partly, but it requires better explanation. The immediate seizure, securing of weapons, forensic examination, and refusal to release them without licenses are justifiable and consistent with public safety. The decision not to arrest may also be justifiable if investigators genuinely found a declared shipment or prior attempt to obtain permission, no concealment, no prohibited weapons, and no evidence of criminal purpose. The weak point is the apparent suggestion that lack of criminal intent ends the legal inquiry. The law appears to require a permit, and the authorities should explain why an unauthorized importation was handled only administratively despite the quantity involved and the serious penalties in the Firearms Act. The fairest conclusion should be the public should not demand an arrest merely to satisfy anger, but the public is entitled to demand a transparent legal explanation, a documented DPP decision, confirmation of any custom penalties or forfeiture, and proof that the same standard would be applied to everyone. And the question, would you get the same treatment? The honest answer is we cannot conclude from the available public record that the individuals received unlawful preferential treatment. But the failure to publish a clear, anonymized decision-making framework naturally creates that perception. The authorities can address it by releasing the timeline, explaining the legal basis for the customs referral, confirming the DPP's position, and publishing the outcome of the proceedings. And so these are some of the things that we would be looking forward to, Bankie, as we continue the discussion on this topic. And this is why, you know, a lot of these things, and now plus the information that you have presented now, in the sense that you are claiming that they were not properly exported from Canada, the procedures that were necessary for them to be legally or legitimately exported from Canada was not done. And they were not placed on the manifest either for Nevis. So these are things that I think would definitely need some further investigation. And Mr. DPP, we would love to see your findings that you would have found. And maybe you need to investigate this thing a little bit more as we, you know, come closer to the end of our programming for this evening. We want to thank all of you for, you know, making your comments. Let me see what we have here in terms of any more new comments. Jasmine says, SK and statutory rules says a person may possess. Okay, sorry, we read that already. And Spiler Flick says, well, precedence has been set. Just send an email. You know what I mean? It seems like this is what we are saying here. Because the Firearms Act say you can't bring in nothing without the permit. And if you didn't get the permit, then the act is illegal, whether you send email or not. Like I said, I go back to my initial example. If I am going to have a dance, if I'm bringing in Gramps Morgan tomorrow to have a big session, and I done pay Gramps Morgan, and I done pay the band, and I done pay the sound system, and the hotel, and all of these things, and I ain't get that pass from the government to allow me to have loud music and have entertainment, and then I up to bring in these guys and go kick my show. The police have the right to come and stop my show, and they have the right to arrest me and charge me for having loud music and all that, because I didn't get the pass. And that is a simple point that, and I like to use examples that we can relate to. Examples that we can relate to. And that is the reality. They did not get permission. And seemingly based on the information provided here tonight, they did not get permission from Canada either. So based on this information now, can we categorically conclude that there was no intent to evade customs? There was no intent to evade whatever? And can we conclusively say that there is no criminal intent based on this information? These are some of the questions as we are about to wrap up this evening. We want to leave with you, our listeners and followers. Elisha says the question was there ever a case where a local person brought in a pow pow? If the answer is yes, what was the treatment of him or her versus this Canadian? Well, the scenarios may be different, in the sense that the persons who might have really attempted to do so illegally without making any provisions or declarations or try to in any way inform. So the situation may be slightly different. However, the end result should remain the same. Even if the local person would have applied and did not get the permit or the permission, then the act of bringing it in and getting it into the ports is still illegal. And so that is the answer technically. What should happen if the power powers were not found? What would the individuals? Would the individuals have informed the police that he or she had these items in his or her possession? We don't know. And we don't know, like somebody asked earlier, we don't know how many persons would have already gotten away with this. And we don't know how much more, because maybe they may up to tighten up the next time, or, use some other means or method the next time. But this is interesting that these things were allowed to pass through.
Don't slack up. That is why customs is happy where they have things in place where they don't trust the agent along with the homeowner to clear containers without their present. Otherwise, these are things could have gone away. And that is why they make sure call the police, bring the canine, even though they identify the too safe and stuff like that. They make sure they search all the furniture, all the whatever item was there, are sniffed out property, and then the okay was given. That was just those wasn't taken about the word, because you don't see everything on gone wrong already. So these are what are the information that is given. So there's no reason no one to go and speak and add nothing else to how they feel and all these different stuff like that.
A question here, which I don't think I have the answer for at this point, but maybe when we come back we might be able to respond to that. It says, if you're sure the act ain't have a clause saying a minister may. Well, we don't know. That we don't know. And we are hoping that it isn't in that case. I think the law and the act may be very straightforward in relation to what should happen. And so the difficulty that we are having here is seemingly some miscommunication. It might be or it might be intentional communication, in the sense that no clearance was given from Canada. No, nothing was placed on the manifesto to indicate that these powwows and ammunition was a part of the personal items that were are supposed to be in this container, and that they only made the declaration upon customs being present and was going to be opening up the containers. The email, we don't know, because all of these things we don't know. We have never seen the email. The police said that they would have had an email that they did not get a chance to look at. When did they look at the email? I don't know. So I don't know if they looked at the email when they got the news that the container is being opened. All of these timelines we don't know, and it would be interesting for us to get those timelines, and I'm calling on the DPP. I think you need to follow up, and you need to also provide the information in relation to the investigation that you would have made into this matter, so that the general public should not be speculating on these issues, because it leaves a sort of questioning whether, you know, the public are treated the same, and or if there was and is some sort of, as Bankie would have alluded to earlier, color privilege that we see taking place. Comment here, Yahsonn, okay, they say the 15 power were an antique collection. What about the 15 rounds of ammunition? That's not a collection. That pointing, so I made that, I responded to that earlier, Mr. Panel. The police would have said that in relation to the 1,500 rounds or more, because one article I read says more than 1,500 rounds. The commissioner would have highlighted that in those cases, the person or persons who would have applied for the ammunition would not get all of the ammunition at once. Usually what happens in that case, the police would secure the ammunition and you would apply for a certain amount. So they would give you a certain amount, let's say maybe 20 or 25, and then when you utilize those 20 or 25, you're supposed to return the spent shells, and then you apply for the other 25 or 30 as the case may be. So that is the explanation that was given by the police. So clearly there were at least two wrongs then. Somebody's trying to come up with excuses to make it right. Well, these are things that we are hopeful that could be investigated properly. Maybe they need to have another press conference again, because now some of these information that Bankie would have presented tonight puts a whole other spin and twist to what was presented in the press conference, what was presented in the article that highlighted the scenario. And so it was a pleasure, you know, having you guys, you know, whether it's commenting or calling in. We want to thank all of you and thank you for your contribution. Without you, we would have been here, you know, talking to ourselves. We appreciate you guys being a part of the discussion. We want to thank our sponsors, Islander Water Sports, On the Rocks, Shabba's Organics, Answer's Last Stop. I see, but I don't remember the name of the childhood thing that I see sponsoring here. But I think, you know, we will mention it. Also, I want to talk about Heritage Cafe. So tomorrow it's all about Simple Stupid Wednesdays. Go on out and check them out. Book a tour. Go inside Heritage Village, and when you're inside, make sure to make a stop at the Heritage Cafe. They open for lunch from 11 until 4 p.m. daily, and we're looking to get breakfast started on Saturdays. So if you want a place to go on for breakfast on Saturday, be sure to check out Heritage Cafe. So I want to thank all of you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, my co-host, Bankie. I'm going to give you an opportunity for your closing as well. I want to thank the Real Entertainment team for going above and beyond and the extra mile as we're even over time. I want to thank all of you who are here. Remember, subscribe, click on the notification bell. Go on over to the YouTube platform. If you're on Facebook, go on over. Let's increase the numbers. When you increase our numbers, increase the algorithms, it increases the chances of other people seeing it and getting to share what you have experienced this evening. So thank you very much, Bankie. You're closing.
Yes, and I want to thank all those who tune in and for all their comments and all those who call in and stuff like that. We really appreciate the calls and the contribution. You all are the one who make this show, and with your comments and dedication and giving us the support on a weekly basis. Yes, and I also want to big up the young lady who was protesting the high cost of electricity and parents choosing between food and paying a bill and stuff like that, and has been tortured by the system with all this high price of electricity, and it's really sad. Right now, let me say this: when I was at St. Kitts for the training on the cannabis from Thursday to Saturday, I was told that the Dominica boat is not going to be coming unless it's full because the cost of food in Dominica and St. Vincent have gone up. So it means it's less food. You can't go buy food at a high price to be sold here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So you see where we're heading in? A serious food shortage. And only worse you're going to get with what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz and with Ukraine, who produce all this junk of fertilizer, and Iran and the places there, and the cost of fuel and everything. We have been bad more. So, I mean, I was just invited last night, this evening, today again, get a call after leaving St. Kitts to be a part of a panel discussion around October 12th, I think. I think it's October and next month. I don't even know. I guess I'll have to get information at Central Bank Auditorium. So, I mean, and all this is to speak, and how we're going to diversify the economy. It's a large panel with people from ECA and different agencies and stuff like that. So I appreciate the invitation that they see that I'm capable to manage stuff like that. But again, thanks for all those who show me love. I mean, there's plenty people in St. Kitts who recognize me and really supporting this network and what we're doing here. The love, and just big up yourself. And I appreciate, as I said, appreciate the love. And again, give thanks for all those who come out and support Mansour's last stop, keeping my Uncle Mansour's legacy alive, who was within the agriculture sector all of his life. And I just want to say again, remember, Mansour Park, the parking lot is for Mansour's customers only. Don't drop your car off, go about your business. And no, it don't work like that. So I'll be putting up a sign so I can see a sign. So respect the space and stuff like that. Again, Yahsonn, definitely coming up this Friday. We will have Adif Mills from the CEO of the Cannabis Authority to speak and the way forward when it comes to the cannabis industry and how the training has been going, and the one that just held last week by Dr. Emmanuel. Want to big him up again and for doing such a workshop, and for all those who came out and partake in that workshop and have left with a lot of knowledge and see the plant in a different way. But the high command themselves, along with the government, both here in St. Kitts and Nevis, because Mr. Randy Elliott now a part of the Cannabis Authority. Till I make them famous, you know. So now they got to go meet up with the CEO and Mr. Evelyn and all them. So Nevis seem like they're jumping on board now and all this different stuff. So we've been here beating the drum. So as you see, at that time, because they can't avoid it forever. And we've been saying this all the time. Okay? They put it over as a federal. No, St. Nevis is one place. So you can't be playing blame game that is the federal government dealing with it. You're supposed to be working hand in hand. Brothers and sisters, that's how it works. Pulling it for yourself, you know, and then, nah, you should have been done have formal. The ministers in St. Kitts and the agriculture minister up here is the same. You also be collaborating with the directors and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to hearing these guys speaking on cannabis, and for when the next training coming over in post within the next month or so. So let's see how that goes. But definitely looking for the reasoning. And then coming up on the 1st of September, our guest will be Mr. Austin Edinburgh. Definitely looking forward for that reasoning also. And on the 8th will be Mario Philip. That will be a next good reasoning there, right? Yahsonn, as you see, some controversy have surrounded Mario and his situation and stuff like that. So again, if you guys have any other topics that you feel like we should partake in, and you can always reach out to me as Yasmin did. So Yasmin, big up yourself. As you see, she was really full speed, like a liar, with well researched, with all that stuff. But definitely enjoy the conversation this evening, the reason. And also again, Joni, big up yourself. Coming up on Friday will be Freedom FM 16th anniversary. So that's a good thing going there. Joni is somebody who deserved that. He have worked throughout ZIZ radio station, and now he ended up on 16 years ago. We all remember when Freedom started. Definitely bring something different at the time and stuff like that. So Jamie, big up yourself. Nobian, big up yourself. And also DJ Right Hand, and the next one, Avi down there. And again, Joni, congratulations on a long milestone, 16th anniversary educating the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. A legend, and they need to put something in respect of his name and stuff like that when it comes to broadcast and the amount of people he have influence and stuff like that. Again, big up your whole Freedom Crew, Sensei, Sugar Bowl, DJ Winch, and all the others who partake in that. Yes, son?
I am just happy to hear that you're telling me now that Randy Elliott is a part of the cannabis board now. I recall, you know what I mean, holding his feet in the fire, you know, a couple months back, you know, and he's telling me, "Boy, his hands is tied because it's a federal thing and ain't nothing much they could do from this end and so on." So now you're there, Randy. I'm coming, Randy. I'm coming to you, Randy. Yeah, so look out for me. I'm putting you on blast. I'm coming to look for you. Anyway, my brethren, you know, it's all love all the time. Me and Randy, you know, we really get along pretty well. And so it's pure love all the time. So Randy, I'm putting up my hand like I tell the premier, when it comes to cannabis, if you are afraid to, you know, be the public relations, contract me, man. You give me a work. I'll come out and do it for you guys. No problem at all. So
and I must say again, I was challenged by a landowner to do a show on the airport development and stuff like that, because I was privy to some information and stuff like that. So I guess I'll have to plan around that, and I'll do a show coming up to independence and the airport development and all this different stuff. Because again, this other information is not given out, and people end up being clean, but yet the money pass and different stuff, and people just watching what's going on and all kind of different here and there. So yes, if Alexis Zook want to get in contact with me and be a part of this show and speak airport development and the money, where the money coming from and all this different stuff, you can also reach out to me, because definitely I'll be having this show. So whoever want to be a part of the guests while we're discussing the show, they're free to reach out and be a part. But I think Zook is the one who has been with the airport development and as the advisor to the premier, so he's free to reach out and be a part of the show. Definitely, Bankie, I'm going to do some investigation and don't get some free information already from a large landowner, because it's just not the Yearwood land alone, not get paid yet. The other people are not going to pay yet neither, and others. So we'll see how that go again. Because no money, what the training man say? No money there. So this thing is going to be funny. You can't make this stuff up with things people tell you. You understand? So I just listen and just laugh. So I promise I'll do that show. So in September, we'll have that show and the airport. So be yourself again. All right? Enough
All right,
respect.
people,
Yes,
give thanks. Enough love, everybody. Guidance and detection. Want to say thanks to Real Entertainment Network. Want to say thanks to all of you who are here. Please, before you leave, I see about 70 plus people on the YouTube platform. Make sure you subscribe. Click on the notification bell, like it, share it. That's all we're asking, so that we can be, you know, more in the algorithms and more people can pick us up and we can have more people the next time. All right. So with that said, enough love, everybody. Be sure to come and check out Simple Stupid Wednesdays at Heritage Cafe. Yes, definitely. Then tell me about it. Thank me later. All right. Enough love, everybody. Guidance and detection.
Topiks, Bankie Yahsonn, real conversations. Hey. Lately we be having conversations with people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. We be having conversations with the people, cause too many media houses changing up the news. Everything was green light, now we seeing red. Everybody got opinions, few got facts instead. We be having conversations with people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. Tuesday night and everybody tuned in live. Bankie and Yahsonn bringing reasoning every time. Talking politics and the things affecting lives. Breaking down the stories they be trying to hide. Used to trust the system, now the trust gone. Everybody talking loud, but the facts wrong. People tired of the fake and the gimmicks too, so they coming to the topics for a clearer view. Got the whole Caribbean locked on the station. Real Entertainment Network, building conversations. No script vibes, not staged for the camera. Just real people talking straight with stamina. Maybe we be having conversations, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. We be having conversations, Big topics got the whole place stressing. Agriculture, crime, economy, discussion. Every episode spark another conversation, and the comments start flying when the live start. Everybody got a view from the heart. Some agree and some disagree too, but at least the topics bringing real views. No pretending when the mic turn on. Yahsonn reasoning while Bankie stays strong. People checking in from overseas too, cause authentic conversation hard to come through. Everything was green light, now we seeing red. Everybody got opinions, you got facts instead. We be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking true.